The first ever lesson that I learned in leadership is never ever translate without knowing the context. And now you're scratching your heads to wonder what this means. I was to start the session by saying a leader is a dealer in hope. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from whichever part of the world you have joined us from. When I tried translating, the entire meaning changed. And that's what experience gives you, an opportunity to explore, experiment, and enjoy. I am not sure if you know, I have a long standing relationship with Toastmasters in Baroda. The first ever Toastmasters club, I was instrumental in starting that. It was L&T Infotech, and I remember very vividly, it was a 2-day masterclass. Grammarian, please note, orchestrated for the newly formed club, and it was a royal treatment that I got. I can never forget that. It was expected to be a virtual session on Skype, but they wanted me to be there physically. And when things changed, I was feeling very bad because Gujarat was the state where I helped start clubs, first with Ahmedabad and then came Baroda. So it's so exciting to be back in a club in Baroda. I think this is the first time ever that I have come to any club in Baroda after that early days of L&T Infotech. So let me tell you a story. We've all heard that there is a lot that can happen over coffee. A brand endorses it very clearly. In the year 2009, April, few of my friends from Toastmasters took me over to this very specific coffee shop where a lot could happen over coffee, and they wanted me to take up the role of club president. And I was just about 4 months in the system, and I was taken aback. I was like, seriously, you want me to do it? There's so many people, they come up with so many ideas, and they said, why are you afraid? Why do you think you cannot do it? I said, it's not about I cannot do it, but I don't think I'm ready. That's the statement I made. And I remember those people sitting there vividly. It was Arvind, Rukmini, Parul, Madhura, Rajesh. They had surrounded me and I was literally cornered in a round table. And I was thinking, kya kare? I said, okay, let me think over and I'll come back and let you know. I took a week or so, thought through, and then decided to dive in. And life for me changed that day. A lot can really happen over coffee if you have the right set of mind, the right set of friends, and of course, the right set of environment. And that environment, my dear friends, was Toastmasters. My first ever executive committee role was that of a president. And that's overwhelming, isn't it? It's like, oh wow. मतलब सीढ़ी ऊपर से तुम कैसे शुरू करोगे? ऊपर already पहुंच चुके हो. That's with that feeling I said, okay, what can I do differently? What is it that will make a difference, will add value to what I'm doing in this role? And I went back, spoke to people, past leaders, and tried understanding what things are. And in my journey, when I became the president, I realized there was a period when my treasurer was not available. So I had to step in as the interim treasurer, because end of the day, financial kapla kuch hua to mundi kape lapla. Vaisa wala situation, right? So it is difficult, my dear friends, when your neck is at the edge of that sword. You need to be cautious. You need to be very clear about how you're doing things. Then we had a challenge when my sergeant at arms decided that okay, he no longer wants to take that position. And it is like Dimag ki batti jalao movement, Mentos. Those days it was not very famous. And I decided to do something different. I said, instead of appointing a new sergeant at arms, let us explore, experiment, and do something very different. Each month we give the role of a sergeant at arms to one member. Let's see how it works. And that worked out beautifully for me. I did not have to worry, and everyone tried to better the previous time, I mean. And that made me feel so proud. Slowly, as I climbed the ladder, I went on to become the district leader. Then I became the region advisor. So my journey, if I classify, there are three buckets: a bucket which is at the club level, a bucket at the district level, and a bucket at the international level. And learnings at each of these levels are completely different. You cannot really compare any of these. I remember as a club president, it was all about you because you are in power. You know, okay, abhi satta meri hai. You become like a dictator, right? The mindset changes because you feel some mere se, oh, you ask me this. And then I stand back to think, why do we have these officers along with me? There is a reason. And that's when I started consulting, talking to people. And I realized what people used to say, that the deeper the conversations, the bigger the impact. I started having longer conversations with people who have been in that positions, and a few things that I learned during that conversations and the experience. Mistakes are okay. I made mistake as a president. I made mistake as a district leader. I made mistakes as a region advisor. I made mistake as my current officer role as district parliamentarian. But one thing which I have been told repeatedly is own up the mistake, acknowledge, make amends, and move on. It's okay. No one is perfect. No one is perfect, and no one will hold you for accepting your mistake. The second lesson, most important, is learn to build bridges. Don't burn them. Most of us are so excited, so arrogant. I'm not comparing it to anyone. I'm talking about my experience. You become so arrogant saying, oh, I'm here. It is my year. I need to do it. That you feel that dekh lenge jo hoga. We'll take care of it. Let it come. But it's not about that. It's about building a bridge so that next time you need help, you can go back. And the last but not the least, one thing which I learned is invest. Invest your time in understanding the organization. We all know about leadership. I don't need to teach leadership to anyone. It's about how you experience leadership that makes a difference. Why is it that there are thousands of leaders, but there are only a select few that you remember? And when there are specific instances that happen, you remember and say, oh, yeah, if this person was here, how would he have done it? If you know about the organization, today I can proudly say I have 75 GB of data filled with Toastmasters material, and my hard disk is full. Hard disk is full with stuff which I started collecting, trawling the internet, going places where no one dared, right? Where no man dared. People are like, manual bhi nahi padhte yaar. Sorry to say this. But I decided to read through. And I am someone who has loved to play by the rules. So when you know the rules, there is a big difference. There is a big difference where you can make the best of how you want to implement the rules. And that is the biggest learning. And with Toastmasters, when I knew the roles and I knew the roles and the rules, when you combine them, it becomes very powerful. It becomes a positive power, a positive influence, because you know, as a leader, everyone expects integrity, respect, service, excellence. It's there in the back of the mind. But when you are put in a corner, what do? When you are back up against the wall, what do? When people threaten you, troll you today on social media, that's the in thing, right? They start questioning you. What should you do? That is what rules helps you understand. I learned the code. I became an expert in coding. I come from a background in IT. So code, I was thinking, kya kare yaar? Code to hona hi chahiye kuch. Code is, I became creative. My power of observation increased. I started delegating because I realized ये 7 officers को कुछ काम तो देना चाहिए, नहीं तो क्या वो सब कुछ राम करेगा तो क्या शाम मुफ्त में खाएगा? That kind of a mindset started coming in, saying, oh, this person has a role and a responsibility, let me give it to him. And then I followed what our founder Ralph certainly said, we learn best in moments of fun. So I started experimenting, I started exploring, and I started enjoying everything. I didn't care about what people said. And I have a term for it called as CLKK. And if you're starting to scratch your heads again, CLKK means char log kya kahenge. Don't worry about it. Do things the way you want to in the right manner. If you really want to be a leader where people look up to you and say, wow, you need to move from where you are to a next level. You need to create your own style. Don't copy someone else. Don't become a carbon copy, because otherwise you will be called as a monkey, right? Because copying someone else is called as aping, and ape literally means a monkey, and we don't want to be called as monkeys. While we may have our ancestors from that lineage, but I really do not want to be called a monkey, and I would not want to be looked upon as a monkey for any reasons at all, unless we are having fun. As a leader, it's important for you to listen and be silent. However, many leaders are so hyper that they keep talking, ignore what's coming in. The one thing that can give you success as a leader is your ability to listen silently. I know I am silent at home because I'm married, so I don't get much opportunities to speak, but I'm not talking of that kind of a silence, but a little silence where you let the other person speak, put across a point of view. That brings in the value of respect that we have at Toastmasters. We have heard management guru says that culture is the shadow of a leader. Culture is a shadow of a leader, which means a leader needs to move from being good to great. And thank you, Neil. You know actually changed my entire script when you said we have a great leader, and I'm like, abhi main kya karu yaar, meko great bana diya. I'm not great, but I could come up with something. I was good. I would say I was good as a leader. And before you start thinking, I was like Amitabh Bachchan. हम जहाँ खड़े होते हैं लाइन वहीं से शुरू हो जाती है. I had that attitude in me, saying that I know everything. I was the angry young man. I was the arrogant young man. I'm young now as well, okay? Don't start computing my age right now. But then, when I talk of good, it was G-O-O-D. G, grumpy. I was flustered with everything that was happening. I felt ये सही नहीं हो रहा यार. ये मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा? And I would like complain every single time. Ostentation and snootiness was something which I carried all along, because I thought मैंने तो ये पुराने organization में किया हुआ. I know everything. I felt I was the second O, over the top, because मैंने rules सब पढ़ लिया है. I know कैसे rules को use करना है, कैसे leverage करना है. I was a leader at the level of a PQD in another organization called Rotaract, so I thought I knew it all, and I was over the top, which was a limitation. And I had an attitude which said, D, don't care a damn. मुझे ऐसा ही करना है, my way or highway. And things changed. And things changed because I realized when I was good, the G-O-O-D, the grumpy, ostentatious, over the top, and don't care attitude person, things were not going smoothly. Suddenly there were conflicts, there were friction, and unwanted things started getting delayed. Simple things started getting delayed. And I started thinking, kya kare? I had to change. And we all know that when you are at Toastmasters, you have to play around. मीना जी हमारी जिंदगी का तंबू 3 बम्बुओं पे खड़ा हुआ है, family, work or Toastmasters. G is looking at me when I called Meena ji. Now these 3 pillars are very critical, and as it is said in that dialogue, इनमें से एक भी बम्बू हिल गया ना तो problem हो जाएगा. Because for me, all 3 have their positions in my life, and it's important that I make sure that I balance it effectively. I never had the opportunity where my son Ved ran and came to me and said, उस आदमी का साइन लेके आओ जिसने मेरे हाथ पे लिख दिया मेरा बाप Toastmaster है. Because I tried to balance it out. Thanks to the support that I got from Vaishali, my wife, my friends at Toastmasters, and my own interest, I started to change from being good towards being great. Great, Great. Gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity, gratitude for the team that you got, gratitude for everything that you experience at Toastmasters. Are the biggest lesson in becoming good to great was resilience. It's important that you stay resilient all through. Twice in my journey, I was refused to be given the leadership position. And I felt bad. I went back to being grumpy and I said, क्या यार मैंने ये सब किया हुआ है फिर भी मुझे नहीं दे रहे. Why don't they accept my experience? Why do they think that I'm a fresher? I felt bad. Honestly, I felt bad and I thought I'll leave this movement. But then the support of family, friends, and the Toastmasters community made me bounce back. A stands for assimilating synergies. Now, what is assimilating synergies? Assimilating synergies is bringing towards together the experiences, the competencies that are complementary to you. And this lesson came from Rotaract. I fought an election, I won an election, but the person who lost against me had a competency that I did not. So I made him a part of my team. And I realized this is what we need to do. Synergies always help. We cannot do it together. We cannot do it alone. We need help. And as they say, what got you here won't take you there. And last but not the least is the T, which is the trust but validate. Unfortunately, we are born in a culture where we trust people blindly. We trust processes blindly. But my experiences have taught me that we need to trust, but we need to validate. Some of these things have actually grown on me slowly. And today I am what I am because of an outcome of all of these. And I can summarize, I can see Pinky in red here, and she's been a TEDx speaker. So TEDx. TEDx is T stands for Toastmasters. E stands for experimentation. D stands for decisions. And X stands for the execution of all the plans that I wanted to. So that TEDx helped me. I've had highs and lows in my life, my dear friends. I will not say that everything was all hunky-dory. I remember taking my son, who was very young that year, three and a half years, took him on stage when I gave my acceptance speech, and both of us sang together the song Ki Le. That was one of the highs of my life as a leader. There have been many others and lows. I remember I was the last person to go and have dinner in a conference. And one person comes and says, you stop your dinner and I want to talk to you. And I said, I have earned my dinner. Let me have it. And non-vegetarians will imagine the chicken leg just going into your mouth and someone stopping you from that. That is a moment I would never want anyone to experience. That day I did not lose my cool, but I felt really bad. And I felt if people cannot even let someone have their food when it is the last person to eat, I think there is a lot that we can do. I dived into this vast ocean and I was told it is swim or sink. I chose to swim. My journey is a drop in this vast ocean of knowledge that I am swimming. I have knots to swim across, oceans to cross in this journey. And I invite all of you here on this meeting today to take this challenge, dive in, swim farther together. And very soon, I would love everyone coming and saying, "Hey, Salah, आज अपन का appointment है, XCOM role में, आना installation." Wish you all good luck and enjoy your journey as a leader, so that you don't remain an angry young man or a young woman, but you become a hungry person who's hungry for knowledge. Thank you for having me over, and back to you, Neil.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Brillian. What a wonderful keynote. In Toastmasters, we always believe in learning with fun, and your keynote speech was completely based on that. Thank you again for sharing your journey as a leader and for sharing some tips and messages about how a leader should be and how we can improve our leadership qualities. Now, for the vote of thanks, I would like to call the president of TCB, Toastmaster Pinky, on the stage. Toastmaster Pinky, stage is on yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Neil. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Brillian, for such a wonderful keynote. TCB expresses its gratitude. I want to say something. I would like to share with you my personal experience with DTM Brillian. I always look forward to his presentations. And why? आज कौन सी मूवी का रेफरेंस आने वाला है? And that is something which you nailed today also. It's always fun to listen to you. I remember first when I met you, it was 2018 Hyderabad Eloquence. We were speaking about eloquence. And I came and I introduced myself. And I remember you told me that, Pinky, I know you. I thought, okay, wait. In my mind, I said, okay, wait. You are the region advisor. I know you. That's fine. But how come you know me? But I didn't have the courage to ask you that, how come you know me? So that is how after that we have shared screen at many places. And then we met at Jaipur. And let me tell you all, distinguished Toastmaster Brillian is a wonderful storyteller. We were eating dinner at a table and he was telling me the story, the history of our district. And I still remember that. So once again, distinguished Toastmaster Brillian, thank you so much for accepting the invite. Please accept the token of gratitude from our side. This is from TCB. A huge round of, everyone can unmute and let's have a huge round of applause for him.
Thank you so much. And as Kishore Kumar says, bajao, bajao, जोर से बजाओ. Certificate मिला.
Thank you, and we'll always remember. The best part was you always great CLKK code, and also this is something which makes it easy for us to remember what you say. So once again, thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Neil.